South Texas, where the horizon never ends. This is King Ranch, 825,000 acres of working country, bigger than Rhode Island, pulsing like a private nation. It has its own zip code, its own fire department, and air assets sweeping the sky to steward land and livestock. This isn't nostalgia, it's infrastructure at continental scale, an empire of grass, water, wind, and muscle, run with the precision of a city that happens to wear a cowboy hat. But the real power of King Ranch lies beneath the hooves. Under this red earth are cathedral-sized salt domes, corridors of minerals, and a vast, pressurized aquifer, an underground ocean that turns drought into strategy. Layer by layer, the subsurface reads like a ledger of wealth: rock, brine, fresh water, hydrocarbons, mapped, measured, managed. Above ground, helicopters trace fence lines and riverbeds. Below, pipelines and pressure curves tell a quieter story, where water moves, cattle thrive, where domes rise, storage and energy follow. This is land as an operating system, genetics, grazing, and geology sinking into one command center of food and fuel. And then there's the ace up the sleeve: oil. King Ranch is more than cattle. It's a landlord to American energy. Those salt domes and subsurface caverns sit beside the infrastructure that feeds the nation's strategic petroleum reserve, black gold braided into conservation, grazing plans, and generational stewardship. Food and fuel sharing the same soil. Welcome to King Ranch, America's most important private land, where the story of dinner on your plate meets the story of energy in your tank, and the map of power runs under open sky. We're going inside the hidden empire beneath the hooves. Segment 1. The Surface Kingdom. Founded by Captain Richard King in 1853, carved from the Wild Horse Desert. A cattle empire that's endured for more than 170 years. Its footprint is staggering, an 1,800-mile fence line, a perimeter you could drive for days as the sun slides from chaparral to saltgrass. Here they engineered Santa Gertrudis, the first American beef breed, built for heat, ticks, and drought, a blueprint for tough, efficient beef. And above the grass, a parallel dynasty, world-class quarter horses, cow sense and arena speed. So iconic Detroit tipped its hat with Ford's King Ranch edition. Diversified into cotton, citrus, and grain, then in 1939 they stopped looking at grass and started studying rocks. In the world of elite equine athletics, bloodlines aren't just history, they're a forward-deployed blueprint. At the 4-6s, that plan marries explosive speed to unshakable intelligence. Generation after generation, a dynasty proven in hard time and at race time. $80 million in winnings is the scoreboard, but the real victory is precision. Clean breaks, balanced strides, minds that stay cool when the clock is merciless. Pedigree pays when inches and instants decide everything. Yet listen closely. Beneath the thunder of hooves, the ground is whispering another story. These prairies sit over ancient seas, layered stone and pressure holding secrets far older than any bloodline. And before long, that deeper inheritance will matter, a hint of a turn coming, a revelation that will reframe power on this land. But mastery at the surface is only half the craft. The same minds that read a horse's cadence and a cow's intention also read weather, soil, and the quiet signals of the land. Maps unroll across pickup hoods, satellite overlays glow in dim rooms, and out on the flats, geophones tick while crews pace a grid, listening for echoes in the earth. Sustainability here is not a slogan. It's logistics. Water, grass, shade, wind, a choreography at ranch scale. Turbines throw moving shadows that cool cattle. Pastures are rotated like clockwork to keep the country alive. Science and stock sense converge, brains and try, above and below the surface, preparing this place to thrive when the margins get thin. And if the surface tells you how to work today, the subsurface begins to hint at how you'll power tomorrow. Ranchers call it cow sense, that uncanny ability to read motion before it happens. Out here, the land has a kind of sense too. Ears prick, grass shivers, and just beneath the quiet, the subsurface hums with stored time. Imagine first light washing over fences and mesquite, then silhouettes rising on the horizon, not riders, but rigs, steel translating echoes into energy. The partnership evolves, horse and rider at the surface, geology and engineering below, each answering to scale and survival. By 1939, across these same latitudes, the whispers in the rock would become undeniable, and a new current of power would join the work of the day. That story is coming. For now, remember this: the blueprint that builds champions on top of the land is mirrored by a deeper blueprint under it. Two dynasties, one landscape. In 1939, drilling for water on King Ranch hit something else: oil. A gusher roared skyward, opening one of South Texas's largest fields. Humble Oil, later ExxonMobil, signed a lease so lucrative it became legend. Royalties poured in for decades, transforming the ranch's balance sheet and its ambitions. Those royalties underwrote modern ranching, satellite-linked control rooms and pasture analytics at scale, and cutting-edge genetics, DNA testing that sharpened the herd. While the Sixes mastered the horse, King Ranch mastered something else beneath its pastures: oil. Pump jacks turned grassland into cash flow. Cattle paid the brand, crude paid the bills. Mineral leases and royalties funded roads, genetics, and expansion. Pipelines and tanker trucks pushed that crude toward Gulf Coast refineries, an ag empire doubling as an energy enterprise. By mid-century, hydrocarbons often out-earned beef. The ranch became a landlord to wells and rights-of-way, yet even that was small next to what Washington built underground. Along the Texas coast, the federal government carved salt domes into colossal storage caverns, the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. Some of those sites sit on or beside King Ranch lands. We'll go there next. Beneath the Gulf Coast lies an unusual kind of mountain, made of salt. Over millions of years, these salt domes rose through softer rock, forming stable, airtight pillars. That strength and tightness make them ideal for storing oil safely underground. To create storage, engineers drill into the salt and rinse it with fresh water. The salt dissolves into brine and is pumped out, carving a smooth, bottle-shaped cavern inside the dome, strong, simple, and made by water. These caverns are enormous, some taller than a skyscraper and wide enough to swallow several football stadiums by volume. Think of a hidden vertical silo, sealed by rock salt on all sides. Along the Texas and Louisiana coast, these salt caverns hold the U.S. Strategic Petroleum Reserve. Oil can be injected or withdrawn quickly through pipelines, while the salt walls self-heal tiny cracks, keeping the crude secure for decades. Beneath the pastures of South Texas lies a different kind of asset: the United States Strategic Petroleum Reserve. In deals struck with Washington, caverns beneath and adjacent to King Ranch country serve as emergency storage. Energy insurance under cattle country. Crude is kept in man-made salt caverns, fortress-like tanks engineered to hold hundreds of millions of barrels. Purpose: stabilize the economy and defend the nation during wars, hurricanes, or price shocks, buying time for refineries and markets to recover. Pipelines and guarded facilities link the caverns to Gulf Coast refineries, ready to move millions of barrels per day if called. When a presidential release is ordered, valves open. Pressure moves oil to market within hours. Calm, coordinated, controlled. The scale is staggering. America's emergency stash measured in the hundreds of millions of barrels. Above ground, cowboys ride fence. Below, strategic crude waits on standby. Food, land, and energy intertwined. King Ranch isn't just a ranch. It's a landlord to America's energy security. Not all engineering is biological. Sometimes it's financial, built in layers you can't see from the saddle. On the surface, Los Canenos work cattle with quiet precision. Horses reading the herd, riders reading the land. Below that same grass, millions of barrels rest in engineered salt caverns, liquid gold in a Fort Knox beneath the prairie. The ranch leases land tied to America's strategic reserves, petroleum below funding conservation, genetics, and stewardship above. That's financial engineering, royalties and mineral rights turning volatility into staying power, keeping 535,000 acres working. Surface and subsurface, horse and hydrocarbon, one empire, two layers. Saving a legend by building it to last. Beneath these prairies lies a vast freshwater aquifer, an underground ocean that has long sustained the ranch. Windmills once lifted it. Now solar pumps pull clean water day and night. Gravity lines feed distant troughs as sensors watch levels, preventing waste. In a drying climate, water, more than oil, emerges as the scarcest asset. Responsible access and careful monitoring protect a resource with quiet strategic value. As big as Texas is, the future runs beneath it. Mineral rights and royalties shaping empires. Not just oil, rare earth elements now power electronics and EV motors. Those minerals become microchips, etched traces driving a digital economy. Copper, lithium, nickel, and rare earths are the new stock. Follow the timeline. A cattle drive line morphs into data lines and ends on an EV assembly line. Old frontier, new necessity. Tradition meets the space age. Cowboys on elite quarter horses pull up live pasture maps on tablets. Every water, gate, and herd in real time. Rugged sensors and comms, the kind proven in NASA testbeds, are ranch-tested in dust and heat. From the saddle, data replaces guesswork. Overhead, drones sweep the mesquite, scouting routes, counting cattle, and flagging dry troughs in minutes. Across the flats, 400-foot wind turbines throw shade, break the wind, and power the network that watches the herd. Result, mission control efficiency, cowboy soul intact. These farms run like small cities. Power, water, and data, always on. Satellite analytics track pasture indices, NDVI maps, forage growth, soil moisture, updated in real time. AI schedules pasture rotation and controlled burns to reset grasslands. Genetics and herd health dashboards, DNA vials, GPS ear tags, tighten efficiency. From calving alerts to rainy versus dry overlays, managers steer herds by numbers and by stewardship. 6 generations didn't happen by accident. This legacy was engineered, on paper and in practice, one handoff at a time. Professional succession planning, trusts, governance, buy-sell agreements kept the brand intact. Where most great estates fracture by the 3rd generation, this one designed continuity, roles defined, heirs aligned, assets protected. At sunrise, the mark still means something. Land, river, and responsibility stitched together under one name. Pillars of durability, salt domes and the strategic Petroleum Reserve, water, minerals, cattle, and horses. That's how a family keeps an empire whole. Imagine a territory the size of Belgium, baking under the relentless Australian sun. This isn't a nation, it's a single cattle station. And on this sprawling expanse of red earth and hardy scrubland, a skeleton crew of just 11 people orchestrates one of the most ambitious agricultural operations on Earth. Their day begins before dawn, not to the crow of a rooster, but to the roar of a light aircraft engine and the kickstart of motorbikes. Their task is monumental, flushing thousands of cattle from the bush in temperatures that can soar to a blistering 122 degrees Fahrenheit. This is a world of extremes, where survival itself is a form of innovation. Every decision, every movement is a calculated risk against the unforgiving elements. The scale is almost impossible to comprehend. Here, the horizon isn't a line, it's a destination. To sustain life in this arid kingdom, they tap into an ancient, hidden resource. The Great Artesian Basin, a vast underground ocean locked beneath the continent. A network of solar-powered pumps, humming silently in the immense quiet, draws this life-giving water to the surface. But water is too precious to waste. This is where the new world meets the old land. Remote sensors, scattered across millions of acres, constantly monitor water levels in troughs and tanks, beaming real-time data back to a single tablet at the homestead. A stockman can check the water supply for a herd 100 kilometers away with a swipe of a finger. It's a technological marvel, but it's layered upon a foundation of much older wisdom. For millennia, Aboriginal peoples have navigated this country, understanding its subtle languages, the flow of water, the movement of animals, the cycles of the seasons. Today, that irreplaceable on-country knowledge is fused with satellite logistics and predictive data analytics. Ancient tracking skills inform GPS-guided mustering routes. It's a powerful synthesis, proving that the future of agriculture isn't just about what we can invent, but also what we can remember. This entire operation is the ultimate stress test for a very specific kind of animal. The Santa Gertrudis. A breed engineered for resilience, these cattle are capable of trekking hundreds of kilometers in search of a single patch of green grass, thriving where others would perish. Their genetic legacy is a multi-million-dollar investment, a living testament to a century of selective breeding. And this pursuit of the perfect bloodline isn't unique to the Australian outback. It echoes across the globe, from the sun-baked plains of Texas to the grasslands of Brazil. In the United States, ranches like the legendary 4-6s treat their cattle genetics with the same reverence as a royal dynasty. Their $80 million bloodlines aren't just about producing better beef. They're about crafting a biological asset, a herd that represents the pinnacle of resilience, efficiency, and quality. These animals are the carefully curated product of generations of vision, investment, and an intimate understanding of the land. They are, in essence, living masterpieces of genetic engineering, sculpted by nature and perfected by man. This obsession with scale and efficiency now places mega ranching at the very cutting edge of a much larger conversation: global survival. The same principles of data-driven optimization used to manage a herd in the outback are being scaled up to manage AI-powered vertical farms in the megacities of Asia. The logistical genius required to move cattle across a continent is mirrored in the complex supply chains that feed billions of people every day. These ranches are far more than just idyllic landscapes or living museums of Western culture. They are complex, diversified corporations. Consider the King Ranch in Texas, an empire so vast that it serves as a landlord to America's strategic oil reserves, its pump jacks working day and night to power our civilization. On other ranches, wind turbines spin silently above grazing herds, harvesting clean energy for the grid. These sprawling empires are the silent engines of our modern world, operating at the critical intersection of food, energy, and technology. They are a stark reminder that feeding the planet in the 21st century requires a level of ambition and strategic thinking that operates at an almost impossible scale. These aren't relics of a bygone era. They are the blueprints for our future. Which shocked you more, the government's salt caves or the smartphone minerals? Drop your take in the comments. And if this intersection of land, power, and technology grabbed you, subscribe and hit the bell. Next up, billionaire land empires, how Stan Kroenke kept the Wagoner intact, and what that scale means for food and energy. We're just getting started.